Hello everybody, this is Mark Rivera with Genre Online Net, and this is the review portion, part 2 of my coverage on the Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, but actually the Atari 2600 Plus video game. I didn't realize it was so loud. I gotta lower the volume for a moment, but as you can see here, I don't have it in an ideal setup the way I would like to, because the HDMI cable is rather short, so I got to buy a longer HDMI cable. So, and this is a system where you're really going to want to plug it in and be able to like put it on a table in front of you so that you can reach the switches with ease. This is not something, you could put it in a component rack, which I have right here, but you really, it's really, if you're going to be using this a lot to play with, I would say you're better off with a longer power, extension for the power supply. So let me see if I can hopefully lower the volume. Okay. This is on a Sonos Play Bar. Hopefully I didn't lower it too much. Okay, the first game that I purchased one game off eBay that I haven't played since I was a kid. I have it in 4x3 mode, and I'm going to show you what the game looks like in both 4x3 and 16x9. And then I'll show you a few of the games that are on the cartridge that it comes with. But being that I wanted to see what The Empire Strikes Back was like, since I haven't played it since, I think I haven't played it since before Return of the Jedi was released. So we're talking a real long time. I ordered this from eBay, and thank God I did, because it came with the instruction booklet. I didn't get it with the box. I just got it, because with the box it costs you a lot more on eBay. But this was something that I really wanted, so bring back my childhood days. So I bought the Parker Brothers Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back cartridge, which was the first Star Wars based video game ever released for the home market. And basically it has the instructions, which I ended up needing, because basically in order to start the game you have to press this reset switch right here. Okay. Now, it's going to be a little bit awkward, but you can see me here. Okay, and I'm just going to attempt to fly around and show you. This is almost impossible to do with one hand, so you have to forgive me. Okay. As you can see, it's really weird playing with one hand, so... Basically, though, this is like a lot of Atari games are very similar. This is just using the limited polygons and whatnot to create, a reasonable facsimile of an AT-AT and a snowspeeder with the technology that was available at the time, which was only 4K per cartridge. So, and this, gotta give them credit for one thing, though. This cartridge... You gotta give them credit for one thing. This cartridge is over 20 years old. Oops. All right. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, let's see what it looks like in 16x9 mode. Okay, there's a switch on the back here. All right. This is the game with 16x9. It basically just stretches to fill the screen, but I don't really mind that. I kind of like it better, quite honestly. But if you're a purist and want it in that original 4x3 mode, I think they're getting close to my power reactor. You get the idea. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop it for now so that I can. Okay, basically, you take the cartridge out. This is the cartridge for Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. I have no idea whose name this belongs to, who this person is. This is just my TV going into a mode where it's saying, who the hell is, what's hooked up here? Using a Samsung 49-inch 4K LED that's in my bedroom for this, since more than likely, if I am going to play Atari games, it's going to be in the bedroom. Now, this is the cartridge that it comes with. It is the 10 games in one, and you see all these switches here. These dip switches are set for you to basically access the 10 games. It's not a system that I would have gone with, but nevertheless, this is the system they chose because there were no dip switches, as far as I know, on any Atari cartridges. So put it into the cartridge slot and let's see how this goes. All right. And let's see what happens. As you could see, the Atari logo lights up over here as well, which is a nice touch. And we're in adventure. Okay, so I think you're supposed to hit the reset to start. Yeah. So this is Adventure, a game that I've played plenty of times on both the Atari Flashback 8 Gold HD 40th anniversary that I got back in 2017, on the Xbox 4K Blu-ray, whatever you want to call it, version of the game. Has it on there along with some other games. The Atari, it's basically something available for every modern system under the sun. The 50th anniversary Xbox DVD-ROM, Blu-ray disc-ROM, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and of course here it is on here. So let's see if we can kill a dragon. All right. All right, we killed the dragon. And, well, despite my better judgment, this is actually a very fun game to play. It's because mainly its simplicity. When I was a kid, this came out, there was nothing like this. So, you know, this has been acknowledged as being the the inspiration for the games like Zelda. Oh, good. See, it killed itself. So, all right. So, sorry if the camera work is not perfect. Again, I'm doing this by hand. So, I got to remember one day, buy a tripod. Okay, so let's go up here now. Oh, I think this is the, whoops. Okay. I think if I'm trying to remember. People used to map these out, and I'm sure if you go online, you could find a way of mapping this out on, you know, a map that already exists. Okay, let me see if I cross this bridge, which is give me a shortcut. Let me just, okay. All right, and we go up here, and boom. We're in this castle here. Anyway, there's other things that go on in this game, but to see, like there's a magnet you could pick up and stuff. But this is not a demonstration of Adventure alone. This is just a demonstration of the system. It outputs at 720p HD, which, as far as I can tell, the Atari Flashback and any other type of clone device that emulates Atari games that are built into the ROM of the system also output at 720p. I tried originally putting this into my Xbox series, my Xbox One S, because it had the HDMI input in there, but it didn't recognize it because it kept asking for a tuner, so I couldn't use the HDMI input on there, which was kind of a disappointment. I don't know if that's because of a firmware update or not, so that's the reason why I had to hook it up the way I did directly to the television. So anyway, I'll be right back now with another game demonstration. Okay, so you can see here now I've set the dip switches, which are, for me, I'm a big guy, obviously, and so these dip switches are a little bit funky in terms of my fingers are so big that, like, when I switched one, I ended up switching two. Nevertheless, it's not that hard to adopt. It's just kind of, you know, when you have big hands, you have big fingers. So put it into the cartridge slot right here. All right. And now we'll turn it on, see if we get missile command like we're supposed to. Yep, it works. So let me see what happens when we start it up. By the way, once again, I just want to mention, I love the fact that the Atari logo lights up here. All right, so you start the game by hitting the reset switch. And this is a little bit easier to play with one hand, I guess. Okay, so this is as you would expect it to be. This is traditional missile command. I lost a city. Okay, now let's try a different game. Okay, I had a little malfunction before where it said loading game failed, but that was my own fault because I didn't press the cartridge in securely. You got to make sure you push it into that slot securely. This is one of my favorite games in general just because I like pinball, okay? And this is in widescreen mode, but I could switch it to 4:3 with a switch here. Okay, and that resembles the style of the original game on regular televisions a lot more. So let's see how this works. Boy, this isn't working the way. Oh, there it goes. Okay, you got to use the joystick. Whoops. Okay. And you press the red button on the joystick, and then it's using the joystick itself. That's how you move those things. Okay. Okay, you guys get the idea of this. All right, so next we're going to try a different game. So far we've tried 3 games on the 10 game cartridge that's included. So this is game number 3, video pinball. So this game is called Surround. Oh, actually, no, it went into combat. I guess I got it the wrong one, but all right. So here's combat. This is obviously meant to be a 2-player game. So it's, again, doing it with just one hand, without having the finger free to fire is kind of cumbersome, and it's obviously meant for a 2-player. You press up. All right, well, that's pretty much the idea of it. You just shoot before the other guy can shoot, and blast him in the ass. Okay, let's try the next game. Okay. So this is another game, and this game is Dodge 'em. Okay, so let's see how this works. I think this is Dodge 'em. It looks more like a racing car game, but who knows? Okay. Okay. I have about as much skill with this. All right, yeah, you get the idea. Okay, so this is supposed to be, I guess, dodge 'em. All right, but it works. And I'm going to show you something on the dip switch thing that I just realized that's important to remember. This might seem a little confusing at first, but as you see on the cartridge itself, it tells you 10 in 1, 10 games in 1, and it shows you the games are on Adventure, Combat, Dodge 'em, Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, Real Sports Volleyball, Surround, Video Pinball, and Yar's Revenge are on this cartridge. However, now you're looking at it this way, but the cartridge goes in this way. But when you go to look at the back, you see that this is the way. You got to make sure that you don't go like this basically and start switching numbers around. Make sure that when you look at the back at the dip switches that you follow exactly which way you put this, that you're supposed to place them. And I guess that's why they included this little slip card box, because they know that people are probably going to do exactly what I did and choose the wrong one. But you see, I believe what I played was Dodge 'em. So let's try Haunted House next. So I'm going to put the dip switch down over here. And we're going to see if we get Haunted House. Okay. Okay, yes, this is Haunted House. This much I remember from playing it elsewhere. And okay, once again, it's really hard to do this with just one hand. So this is just more proof that you could actually play these games, albeit not as good if you're only playing with one hand, but you know. All right, okay. Oh, okay, that gives you something to do. I don't know what. All right. All right, well, I guess you guys get the idea. All right, so that's Haunted House. Okay. Okay, this is Maze Craze, a game that I've never played before, but I guess we'll get at least a little bit of a taste of it. See some. Nothing happens if I press the fire button. Some of these games you could tell are definitely meant for 2 players. I think this probably is like a race or something like that to get to the other side of the maze, which is actually kind of useless if you don't have somebody to play against. I don't know. I see that you know, they want to encourage people to get either buy separately a separate controller, or if they already have one, to use it so you can have gameplay with your friends. But I think that, you know, they should have just really put single-player games on the cartridge, because a lot of single-player games have that option already built in. And otherwise, if you know, because not everybody's into Atari, so like if you don't have anybody to play with, these games that are 2-player game only are kind of a waste, you know. Okay. All right, so you get an idea. This is Maze Craze. Now let's try another game on this cartridge. You know, if I'm correct, this should be Real Sports Volleyball. In case you're wondering, that glare is the light coming from my thing. Yeah, I guess this is it. So let's see what happens as I suck in this game too. Actually, I see if you once you get the hang of it, I can see how this could be fun. But you can also see how much I suck at playing this game. All right, let's try something else that's less embarrassing. Okay, finally turned off that LED flash that I had on by default. Sorry about that, people. But nevertheless, now you know it'll also work with a with if you have like very stark, very white, bright flat lights in your room or whatnot, it will work. So this game is called Surround, and I have no idea how to play it, but we'll just play it anyway. Okay, all right, I see. This kind of reminds me of the light cycles from Tron, except a lot slower. And it's obvious this is another two-player game where, you know, if you don't have a second player, it's kind of useless to play this. So I don't even know why they just leave it like that. So anyway, we're going to go to another game. Okay, this is the 10th and final game on this 10-in-1 cartridge, Yar's Revenge. Okay. I've never played Yar's Revenge because just didn't. So let's see how it goes. I want to put this in 16:9 mode just to see how it looks. Okay, so now I have it in 16:9 mode as opposed by 4:3. Okay, you start it by the game reset button. All right. I have no clue how. Oh, I see how it goes. Okay. So you have to basically avoid, you have to avoid the bullet things, the things that it shoots out, and you also have to shoot using your, whatever this thing's supposed to be, the little missile or whatever this is supposed to be. And as you can see, it's really hard to play this with one hand, but you get the idea anyway. And actually, you know what? Now that I think about it more, I think it is better to put these in 4:3 as they were intended to be seen, because it's a lot easier when you're playing with a 4:3 screen. It just is. All right, and as you can see, I just died. All right, so let me just wrap this up, giving you my thoughts on this in general. Okay, so this is the 2600 Plus, as I said before. We looked at all 10 games, however imperfectly I was able to present them to you. And basically, here are my thoughts. I paid for this out of pocket, just for the record. This did not come from, Atari or anybody else. And in terms of recreating the feel of the system and the look of the system, this is probably the most closest I've ever seen the hardware look and feel like the original, okay, that at least from my memory. The switches are spot on. They have nice, good grip to them. Just remember to make sure you put the cartridges in tightly, okay? Just make sure you push them in all the way, otherwise it's not gonna work. And basically, it's powered by a USB-C, and you can just plug it in, or you can also plug it into your television if it's got a USB port, because it comes with the USB-C to USB-A cable. This is the game controller port. It's got 2 of them, and HDMI, and you get the reproduction, which is I don't have an original with me, but I'm guessing that this is pretty good based on some reviews that I've seen. It's pretty spot on of what the Atari controller was like. Okay, so what are my thoughts on this? Well, I gotta say, once I got used to the dip switches, it didn't really bother me so much. But you see, even here, like I'm trying to show you him, and I would start off here looking at him the wrong way. You have to remember you have to look at it with the bottom of the cartridge down and back, which you can see how it could be confusing, because if you look at the back of the cartridge, it says it's got the sticker in the wrong direction. So ideally, this sticker should have the 2600 information on top, so that you don't make that mistake of flipping it around and flipping the wrong switches. The next thing I don't like, though, is the fact that it has dip switches at all. Once you get used to the dip switch, it sounds like dipshit, but dip switch things, it's not a big deal, but I can't help but feel like these things, eventually they're going to get loose or they can break, and then you're stuck with less games to play on this 10-in-1 cartridge that it comes with. So that's kind of a bummer if that were to happen. Although they are pretty tight, they're not clumsily or weakly put in, but nevertheless, I really think they would have been better off going with an electronic menu, because I mean, as it was, there were no 10 different games on a cartridge with the original 2600, and since everything else is emulation in terms of you don't have a cartridge and it giving you a bunch of games you curated, whether it be Act Games or another company on their Atari machines. Even though this is from Atari, I really feel that they should have just, even if it's less games on the cartridge, give us a real digital menu to navigate from and choose the game, as opposed to dip switches, because no cartridge that I recall ever had that feature. And if I'm wrong, you could tell me in the comments. All right. That said, do not lose this slip case, because this shows you the dip switch positions in order to play the 10 games that are included, which we went through very briefly, however imperfectly: Adventure, Combat, Dodge'em, Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, Real Sports Volleyball, Surround, Video Pinball, and Yar's Revenge. Now, ideally, they should have better games on it. If you're going to put 10 games on it, how about Space Invaders or Pac-Man or something else? Well, who knows what the real reasons are, but, Atari has the instructions on here too in the back of the car. I like a lot of the care that they put into this, but this, I would say, is great for somebody that has a lot of Atari 2600 cartridges left over from when they were a child, or somebody who that was a big Atari fan and has access to getting the cartridges in the store. Otherwise, you're going to have to buy them on eBay or go to GameStop or order them from GameStop. This is the Empire Strikes Back game. I bought it. It does work. So this is proof that at least this is one cartridge that I know definitely works, that, somebody named Kay played with a long time ago, and now here it is again. So you have, it does work. That's my point. And you may want to have these, if you can get the instruction booklet with a cartridge, if you buy it off eBay or go to a store, it doesn't hurt to have it, because at first I didn't know what I was doing anyway, but having the instruction book made it a little bit easier just for the purposes of this review. Another thing that you could use, although it's not made for this system originally, I have the Atari Flashback 8 Gold HD 40th anniversary, which came out in 2017. I don't know I guess 2017 would have been the 40th anniversary of the system, but I'm guessing that the 50th anniversary is really them celebrating the birth of Atari itself and not the video computer system. So it's a little misleading in that way. But what's good about this book, regardless of whether you have that, is it gives you instructions and tips on all the games that are included with the Act Games version, which could be applicable for the games that you have that you might buy for this cartridge-based system. So that's a plus if you have this or if you have access to it. I know it's also available online for your tablet or your phone. Also, Atari on their website, I'll put a link in the description, does put a list of games that are compatible, that have been tested. It also lists those games that have been untested, and there's a very small handful of 2600 cartridges that, at least as of this review, may not work at all. However, I think I've heard that they can do firmware updates via USB-C, so we'll find that out. Otherwise, it's a nice quality system, but it's definitely for somebody that has cartridges or has access to getting them. One thing I couldn't test for you because it requires the controller for it as well as a cartridge for it, is this is supposed to also play back 7800 games, which on the Atari website, which again will be linked in the description, you can see what 7800 games have been tested to work on this. But basically, you're getting it's 7800 and 2600 in one, albeit while the 7800 was backwardly compatible with the 2600, this is more like the 2600 being backwardly or forwardly compatible with the 7800, I guess because they could do it. Now, as far as I know, this is the only system aware of that at least it's licensed by Atari themselves, that will play back the games on a cartridge. So I mean, that's something. And it comes with a warranty, and you should be able to buy this on Amazon. It costs about $130, which is kind of pricey considering what you get. But if you're a nostalgia buff or an Atari fan and you have access to lots of cartridges, there's a lot of games that are not on any of these systems. Like, I've not seen Pac-Man on an emulator system. Sometimes emulator systems will include a different variation on a game, that sort of thing. There's lots of Activision games and other games that may or may not be available here. So, this does open up your choices depending on what you have or what you can get. So in that respect, I would say it's a plus. But if you're looking for something more curated, I would look at Games has got a 50th anniversary. There's also one other thing I wanted to show you guys before we go. Let me see, hopefully I have it here. Yeah, so this is what I was mentioning before. You can also get a type of best of games this one's for the Xbox Series X / Xbox One. This is a Blu-ray disc ROM, and basically, this is interesting because you get, again, it has more games that are on the cartridge here digitally, has actually versions of the games on this cartridge, on this CD, DVD, whatever you want to call it, that is basically from all the systems. So you have Atari Jaguar games, I believe, 7800, 5200, 2600, even computer games. So as well as arcade recreations that are like the vector graphics for Asteroids. That's something that you get here. So, I mean, you can buy this for like $20 or something like that, and you get more and play it with your Xbox controller, for example, than you could with this. However, this also includes a lot of documentaries about Atari's past, etc., which is cool, but you're getting a little bit of a trade-off here too. So, but my point basically is that you have many options. This is not the only one. If this was the only option, I would say definitely get it. But considering you have many options, I would say go for it. If you're a super fan, go for it. If you have access to cartridges or own a lot of cartridges or have no problem buying the cartridges that you want. Otherwise, for $130, it's a little stiff in my opinion. But it's really well made, and I do like it. So I don't have regrets buying it. I just can't give it a whole, thumbs up. Definitely buy this seal of approval. I mean, I paid for it. I like it, but, my objectivity is a little bit not as it should be, because, you know, if I didn't buy it and I was looking at somebody else playing it, maybe I'd feel differently about it. So take that in mind too. Anyway, this is Mark Rivera, and this has been my overview review, however imperfect, of the Atari 2600 Plus. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day now. Bye-bye.